Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge etc. Memoir of my banking journey by Mr. V.H. Ramakrishnan, retired General Manager of Bank of India. Episode number 02. His memoir is not written in chronological order. Started with Nigerian experiences. The link of earlier episode is available in description. Nigerian experiences. Circa 1984. It was just 2 months after I took over as Executive Director Operations of Allied Bank of Nigeria, an affiliate of Bank of India. This bank was wound up in late 90s. That is a different story. There was another Executive Director Administration, Mr. Udo Iniang, Nigerian, who was a Government of Nigeria appointee and was not a banker but an administrator. One day he told me that he was going to Port Harcourt, a city in the east where he had a branch. Where we had a branch. He invited me to join him so that I can have a feel of the interior countryside. It was the capital of a state. I readily agreed. We took a flight and landed around 8 p.m. at Port Harcourt. The branch was already informed about our program. However, we did not find anyone at the airport to receive us. We waited for about half an hour. Then I took a taxi to go to the hotel. The city was about 15 km from the airport. Mr. Inyang informed the policeman at the airport about the taxi we were taking in the presence of the driver. This was done to ensure that the driver should not play any mischief on the way. As you know, night travel is always dangerous in Africa. Anyway, we reached the hotel safely. Next day morning, we reached the branch on our own. Since we did not know where the manager had booked us, Mr. Inyang took to a hotel known to him. After reaching the branch, Mr. Inyang started the work as if nothing had happened the previous evening. I was surprised that he did not mention anything about the manager's lapse the previous evening. I kept quiet. By evening 4 p.m., we finished our job and were about to leave. Then Mr. Inyang asked the manager as to why he did not come to the airport to receive us. Mr. Nasir, the manager, he was a senior person, said he had some urgent work and he had sent the driver. Mr. Inyang told him there is no driver and perhaps he was sleeping in the car. Then he told Mr. Nasir that if the president of the country visits Port Harcourt, the governor would come to the airport and would not just send his driver to receive the president. He said, Mr. Nasir had erred in his duty, especially since he should have come to the airport to receive the new ED who is a guest to the country. Nasir apologized. On our way to the airport, I asked Mr. Inyang as to why he waited till evening to take the manager to task. I said I would have admonished him right in the morning. He told me, quote, Mr. Ramakrishnan, if I had fired him in the morning, he would have been upset. Our job also would have been suffered as he would not focus properly. He would be brooding over the event. By evening, we have also cooled down. Our job is complete. He also has now learned his lesson. Unquote. I realized how true it was. I feel we all could follow this in personal life as well. We had a chief manager credit called Mr. Moses. He was an experienced Nigerian officer. One fine morning, I found out a serious lapse in a credit proposal dealt by him and called him to my cabin and rebuked him. I was a bit harsh and lost my cool at the lapse. He listened without interruption and kept saying sorry and left. He came back to me in the evening. He asked me whether I can spare him a couple of minutes. I said that was fine with me. He then explained about the proposal and convinced me that he had not committed any lapse. I felt bad for rebuking him in the morning and apologized to him and asked him why he did not offer this explanation in the morning itself. He said, In the morning, you were quite upset and would not have accepted whatever explanation I would have given. I wanted you to cool down and then represent my case. That is why I came after a few hours. In fact, this is our culture. Unquote. I feel many of the young staff of Bank of India can adopt this technique when they get a firing from their bosses. This is only a small narration. I once again travelled with Mr. Udo Inyang to Calabar, capital of River State. We reached late in the evening, and next day morning we had breakfast at the restaurant. It was full of Nigerians except in one table. Little away, an Indian was having his breakfast. We finished our breakfast and came out and were proceeding to the car. Then Mr. Inyang asked me as to why I did not greet my brother. I got confused. I told him that I have no brother. He then said, I saw another Indian at the restaurant. I thought you will greet him. Needless to say that I felt a little ashamed. Later in life, I had noticed that in many foreign countries, including US, when you come across another Indian, we do not even smile at each other. But I used to make it a point to greet them. Then they would respond. An ideal boss. It is very difficult to in official life to get an ideal boss. Though I was fortunate to have many good bosses in my career, there is a special place in my mind for Mr. Mukhtar Bello, who was the managing director of Allied Bank of Nigeria Limited, to whom I reported to take charge as executive director operations. In fact, I met him even before reaching Lagos. That is an interesting story. I was in the last year of my term in Kenya, working as manager Nairobi branch, reporting to the chief manager Kenya branches. One day the chief manager Mr. N.P. Thakkar called me to his cabin and said the general manager Mr. Rege was online and wanted to talk to me. I was surprised since during that 4 years I have never received any call from HO executives. Mr. Rega asked me whether at the end of my term I can be posted to another foreign center. I informed him that I had no problem in serving wherever the bank wanted. He did not even tell me where I was going to be posted. He was about to keep down the phone when I asked him whether he can tell me the place of posting. He then said, Lagos. I thanked him. He did not tell me the position. I assumed that I may be going as a branch manager or as an officer. After about a month, I got a letter from a colleague in Japan who informed me that Mr. Rege had told the officers there during his visit that I was going to Lagos as executive director. That was a pleasant enterprise. After about a month, during Christmas time, we received a message that Mr. Bello, managing director of the Allied Bank of Nigeria, will be visiting Kenya for a couple of days along with his wife. Mr. Thakkar told me that the main purpose was to meet me before my posting. Normally, the bank used to take his consent before posting an executive director. Mr. Thakkar told me that he had already planned a holiday during Christmas vacation and requested me to take care of the guests. I received Mr. Bello and his wife at the airport and found him a very pleasant person. I invited them to my house for dinner and apologetically told him that I do not serve drinks. That was the first time I was playing host to a foreigner. He laughed and said, he is a teetotaler as his religion does not allow consumption of alcohol. Well, when I reported to him at Lagos, he received me very well and made me comfortable during the transition stage. Now about his style of functioning, our working hours were from 7:30 to 3:30 except on Monday. On Monday it was extended up to 5 p.m. We had a 5-day week. Every morning I used to call on him at 8 a.m. and will be spending about half an hour with him. I will not carry any file with me. Whenever I enter, he will get up and extend his hand and greet pleasantly. Thereafter, we will exchange information about who all met us the previous day. We used to discuss the politics, economy, and everything else under the sun. After that, he will never call me during the day. Files will be disposed of based on the information available. No, please see me or please speak. as we do in India. He maintained this practice for the 5 years I spent there. He had called me to his room on a few occasions only to meet some of the ex-rulers, sultans and kings of different states who used to call on him. He also used to go around the head office often. He used to note who is doing what. Whenever a fraud takes place, he would say, I have noticed this person always chatting with so and so besides the moment a staff commits a fraud. He will call for the file and go through the same. He will find out who recommended the staff and the references given by the staff. This would enable us to bring pressures on the fraudster. We had about 60 branches in the country. Mr. Bello had someone in each branch who will be personally loyal to him. Whenever the manager is doing something wrong, the staff member known to Mr. Bello would call at his house and inform him. Next day morning, Mr. Bello will inform me and send an inspection team to the branch. Though Nigeria is notorious for corruption, Mr. Bello was an exception. We used to call him the Gandhi of Nigeria. One Monday morning, he called me and I found him unusually agitated. He said the previous evening one of the Nigerian customers called on him at his house and left a gift. He later found out that there was an envelope with a large amount of cash. He asked me what he should do now. I told him he will simply deposit the money in the customer's account. He happily agreed and we did that. The customer came running and apologized to the MD. Once we processed a proposal for a brewery, I sent it to Mr. Bello with my recommendations. Next day morning, Mr. Bello told me that being a Muslim, he does not want to sanction the proposal for a brewery. I said we will respect his sentiments and withdraw the proposal. By sheer coincidence, within a week, I received a proposal for setting up a butchery for slaughtering the cows. Now it was my turn to go to him and explain how in India we worship cows. I told him I have no heart to support the proposal. Mr. Bello smiled and agreed with me to drop the proposal. Mr. Bello was a London qualified chartered accountant. Despite of his high qualifications, he would always claim that he was not a banker. He had a lot of common sense. Hailing from a powerful family, he had high connections but would never show off. The then governor of central bank was also his personal friend, but he would never boast about that. It was customary in Africa to greet each other on Monday mornings with the inquiry about how was the week end. I also used to ask him this question every Monday, and he would religiously reply with a big smile that it was very, very peaceful. On such Monday, after saying it was very, very peaceful, he added that on Saturday his small child fell sick and he had to admit him at the hospital and the child was on drips. Then he came home late in the night. Next day his drivers, who used to stay in the driver servants' quarter, wife had liver pains, and since the driver was very nervous, he drove the car to the hospital with the driver and his wife in the back seat. On the way, the lady delivered the baby in the car itself. After this, he added, but for this, it was very, very peaceful. There used to be many checkposts manned by the police or military on the roads, and they used to stop the vehicles. Whenever we used to travel together in the car, the vehicle was stopped. He will roll down the window and greet the policeman with a big smile. They would immediately salute him and ask him to proceed. He would never show off his position. He also had the habit of always sitting in the front seat by the side of the driver. Once there was an inquiry by military intelligence about a foreign remittance made by an Indian group through our bank. This message was interrupted by the military intelligence. They called the financial accountant of the group, an Indian chartered accountant, and also an officer from our bank, a local officer who was doing remittances. There was nothing wrong done by the bank. However, the moment they knew that the executive director of operations was an Indian, the military intelligence wanted to link up a connection. They sent a message that I should appear before the military authorities. I informed Mr. Below that I have been summoned. He told me clearly that I should not go. He said, quote, If they want, let them question me and arrest me. I know what should be done. Unquote. He then called the chief inspector to go to the authorities and to inform them that if they have any questions, they should come to the bank and meet the MD. When this was conveyed, the authorities just dropped the matter. Later on, even the company was let off as they produced all documents to prove the genuineness of the deal. However, the accountant is reported to have spent a couple of days in custody. Mr. Bello had high regard for the executives of Bank of India and also felt very grateful to the bank for their support. The bank celebrated its silver jubilee in 1987 in a very grand manner. We held a lavish banquet and invited more than 500 guests. Mr. Bello was very particular and invited Mr. Rege, who opened the branch in Lagos 25 years ago. He also invited Mr. Bhavnani, who was the first accountant of the bank. Similarly, the last Indian MD of the bank, Mr. Sheikh Ali, was also invited, even though he had quit Bank of India and was with Chalar Mamas in London. Mr. Parulekar was also invited as he was very helpful to the bank. Mr. Rege was presented with a special gift. The bust of Mr. Rege was sculpted and given as a gift. The economy The encomiums paid by the Nigerian officer who acted as master of ceremonies to each Bank of India executives was something they would never forget. When I was transferred back to India in 1989, I was posted to Bank of India Finance Limited, Mumbai as Joint Chief Executive. Head office wanted me to undergo training in London for a week with Midland Bank, later amalgamated with HSBC. On my way back to India, I had one small problem. In the normal course, Allied Bank would have bought my ticket to Mumbai by the shortest route. I was also entitled to travel by first class by air. However, I had a hesitation to ask the bank to buy a ticket via London. I spoke to Mr. Tagarse, General Manager HR, and asked him if Bank of India could buy an economy ticket for me from London to Mumbai. He advised me to contact Mr. Jategaonkar, who was Chief Executive UK branches. Mr. Jategaonkar advised me to talk to Mr. Bello and find out whether Allied would bear the cost via London. I was a little embarrassed. By that time, I was handing over charts to Mr. Rafael Konikara. Konikara said he would put up a note to Mr. MD. I told him he should mention specifically that the ticket will be economy class throughout. He put up the note. Within 15 minutes, the note came back with following remarks. I remembered the words well as I kept a copy with me. Quote, Mr. Ramakrishnan has been with us for 5 years. It is our duty to see that he reaches home safely and comfortably. Please book first class via London. Unquote. Need I say anything more about the noble quality of Mr. Bello? When I was in Delhi as ZM, Mr. Bello had been appointed as MD of Nigerian Mint. He came to Mumbai to attend a wedding and traveled to Delhi to meet me. I felt greatly honored. Mr. Bello was in touch with me by email until he passed away 5 years back in his 60s. The episode Nigerian Experiences is continuing. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, subscribe and share.